Today marks the 20th anniversary of the Game Boy Advance launching in North America, and that date of course was June 11th, 2001. As promised back in March, when it turned 20 in Japan, I am back now to talk about some of my favorite games from, specifically, North America. Here's my top 5 in no particular order, as they're all number ones to me. Let's begin with Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which might be my favorite Castlevania game in this Metroidvania style. It's a pretty close tie with the DS sequel. I love the idea of warping into the future for the series, even though it doesn't amount to much than character designs. It's not like you're fighting monsters in Tokyo. That would be too rad, perhaps. It's still a gothic castle, but that's okay. I still admire the change in timeline, but anyway, it still looks great, sounds great, and the gameplay loop of collecting loot, monster abilities, and leveling up is oh so satisfying. Next we have Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Now, I'm not gonna lie, part of me was a bit perplexed when this game came out as a more kid-friendly sequel to the original, which was much darker. Not only that, but the judge system, which outlawed certain actions, was also very annoying, causing me to shut the game off more than once as a kid. What I did appreciate from the get-go was the ever-evolving map and the different races, something the original lacked. It's also why I love Final Fantasy IX so much, as not many main entries up to this point of the series had a lot of diversity in terms of races. The job system and tactical gameplay was fun, even if it wasn't as deep as the original. Even with my complaints, I still devoured every second of it and wish it'd come back in some form as well. Moving on, we have Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. Now, I was never really sold on the Paper Mario series after playing Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. They just weren't the same. This series, starting with this game though, felt like the true successor. Limiting the party to just Mario and Luigi was a brilliant idea for the handheld, as each brother had a dedicated button to themselves, which correlated in battle and on the world map. The team got really creative with both elements, making the time platforming and combat truly outstanding, even more so than Super Mario RPG. I also love the world of the Bean Bean Kingdom, and all the citizens inside, especially the villains. I suggest playing the original rather than the 3DS remake because, well, to get into that would be a whole other video. But let's go now to Metroid Zero Mission, which I think is the best Metroid game ever. Super Metroid is great, folks, but I think this remake of the original took all that game's elements and made them better. The colors popped in the Game Boy Advance, and the gameplay just felt tighter. I will say the atmosphere is more haunting in Super Metroid, which does make it more intense, but this game is just more fun to me. Again, both are amazing, outstanding 10 out of 10 games, and my opinion can often shift between the two. The one thing that I didn't appreciate in this remake is the final segment with Samus in her Zero suit. And last, but not least, The Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap. A Link to the Past is my favorite game in the series, just want to throw that out there. Overall, I prefer the top-down games more than 3D ones. The only exceptions are the Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild. So, where does that leave this game? Well, it's easily in my top 5 Zelda games. As silly as a talking hat is, I love the idea more so than any other companion Link has ever had. On top of that, the main gimmick of shrinking down was brilliant. It sucks that it's so far forgotten now, trapped on old hardware, just waiting to hit the digital eShop once more. Well, there's always hope for this and any of these other games to return someday with a port, remake, or remaster. Never ever forget that. I mean, if a Famicom game from 1988 with the Detective Club games can come out 33 years later, hey, anything is possible. But on that note, that's all the Game Boy Advance goodness for today's video, but I will return with part 2 sometime this month to celebrate 5 more obscure games on the handheld that don't get as much love as these top 5, which usually round out the top 5 for a lot of people. Anyway, that's all for now. Did you like that video? If you did, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word of ReActionExaminer. If you want to read more of my stuff, you can find a plethora of my articles over at TheGamer and Game Rant. All of those links and more are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching!